Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Larry Hudson, and this is Gaming in Public. As most of you already know, Call of Duty Black Ops was released today, and so we're going to be doing some videos over the next week or so, just giving our first impressions and putting in our 2 cents about how we feel about the game so far in its first week of being released. Keep in mind, by the way, that anything we say, if you're watching this and it's April of 2011 right now, our opinions might be completely different by then. These are just first impressions, so don't hate. Thank you. And also, I'm going to be alone for this video, but for the rest of the videos, I will have a partner or two with me, and we will have some steamy Black Ops chat. So, the first thing I wanted to bring up and just get out of the way, because I feel like it needs to be said, I don't think that the mainstream gaming press is going to talk a lot about it, but I think people who spend a lot of time playing Modern Warfare 2 are really going to appreciate a couple of the things Treyarch did. The first one is you can now play split-screen multiplayer online, 2 people on the same Xbox. Hallelujah. Thank God. Thank you, Treyarch. I mean, when I went out to get Call of Duty 4, I fully expected, perhaps a bit naively, for that feature to be in the game, and it wasn't, and I was disappointed. And then, Modern Warfare 2 is getting ready to come out, and I'm thinking, I'm once again fully expecting that feature. I'm like, oh, it's been 2 years. There's no way. There's no way they'd launch another game where you couldn't do that, and they didn't, and I was disappointed. But then I read online that Call of Duty Black Ops was going to let you do that, and I got up and I did a little dance. And I was no longer disappointed. So I'm very excited about that. I remember when Call of Duty 4 came out, one of my friends brought over his HD widescreen TV and his Xbox and had it set up on a kitchen chair. I mean, that's just silly. That was 2007. I mean, people shouldn't have to do that anymore. So I appreciate that, Treyarch. Hats off to you. Also, the other change, I think this should be very important to people who play a lot of Modern Warfare 2. You can now play team games and be in party chat at the same time. Again, I know you could do that in previous games, previous Call of Duty games. But for whatever reason, I think Infinity Ward thought when they were making Modern Warfare 2, oh, hey, if we make everyone, stay in game chat, they'll hold hands and make great teamwork babies. But that's not what happened. Instead, they all acted like a bunch of assholes, really, and it was really obnoxious. I can't tell you how many times I was in a lobby with some of my friends just waiting for a game, and 6 people would just all pop in at the same time, and they'd all be yelling or screaming, or someone's rapping, and some guy's got somebody's whistling really loud, and there's some kid just screaming at the top of his lungs because somebody was using a heartbeat sensor or something, and you had to go down the list and mute each one of them individually. It was a huge pain in the ass. I really hated that. I wished the entire time I was playing that game, because I really enjoyed that game, to be honest with you, and I played it a lot. I really wished that I didn't have to do that I could just enjoy playing multiplayer just with my friends but still be able to play with people on the internet, just not have to hear them talk. Because I think we all know that the Call of Duty community, a lot of them are not the friendliest. I mean, no offense. But so those 2 things, I just wanted to say that, I salute you, Treyarch, for those 2 decisions. The really simple little things count. Simple little things count. But let's get to the meat of the thing. When I got home with Black Ops and popped it into the Xbox, the first thing I did was jump into some free-for-all. Free-for-all is a guilty pleasure of mine. I enjoy playing it. I know it doesn't take quite as much skill, I guess, as team-based games, but I enjoy it. And so I played a few matches of that, got used to it again, but then immediately just went on to wager mode and didn't look back for 4 hours. Wager match blew me away. Wager mode, whatever you want to call it, blew me away. And I think it really solves a lot of the problems that free-for-all has. And in some ways, wager mode and bare bones together, I think. Although I have not played bare bones because I didn't level up far enough. I played 5 or 6 free-for-alls and 2 team deathmatch games, and that was it. So I'm a level 11 or something like that. And so I didn't get to bare bones, but I feel safe saying bare bones and wager match are going to solve a lot of the problems that people like me had with Call of Duty. Because, I mean, you know that, like, here within a couple weeks, I mean, Black Ops could be a great game, but here within a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, people are going to start bitching because balance issues are going to start coming into the light, and other things that are just inevitable, glitches and exploits and stuff like that. So people are going to bitch, and they're going to some of them are probably going to keep bitching. And, you know, people blame Infinity Ward, people blame Treyarch, people blame the Call of Duty community in general for the problems that series has had over the past few years. And they're partially right, but I think that the main problem, personally, like what I think the main problem is that ever since Call of Duty 4 anyway, it's a series that gives you a ton of options. More options really than any other first-person shooter I can think of in terms of how you can suit your play style to how you want to play. I mean, like, you have multiple levels of customization for that. You've got your perks, and, you know, there's how many of those? Like 10 or so, or something like that, 15. You've got all your different weapons, which there are always a lot. You've got all your different weapon attachments, of which there are a ton. You've got your grenades and your equipment. I mean, there are tons of things you can do, and there's no way that you can do that, which I think is one of the game's greatest strengths, without also making it a weakness. In that, when you have all that stuff together, balance issues are bound to emerge, and patterns in people's play styles are bound to emerge that aggravate and irritate other players. So, with that being said, I think that Treyarch has found, perhaps accidentally, a really interesting way, probably not accidentally, a really interesting way of kind of cordoning off different parts of the community into places where they can play with people who aren't going to irritate them quite as much. You're always going to run into campers. You're always going to run into those guys that don't like guns. Like, they have to knife, or they have to use explosives. Like, you're always going to run into those people, but you can't noob tube in bare bones, or at least in the one where you can't have attachments. You can't noob tube in that. You can't noob tube in gun game. So, like, I think that both of those game modes are really going to be a place that attracts players that don't really want those things in the game. And then the players that do enjoy playing that way will go off into the other core game modes. The campers will be in hardcore, and hopefully that system works as well as it has for the past 14 hours or however long the game's been out at this point. Because so far I haven't really seen, unless I'm playing a core game mode, I haven't seen a lot of camping going on. You don't see much camping going on in a wager match at all, with the exception of one in the chamber, which I've seen get campy a couple times. That's not really any way to win the game, because you can be the last person alive and still lose. So I think that'll straighten those guys out right quick. But as far as gun game and sharpshooter go, I haven't seen any camping. And let me talk about those for a minute. Gun game is probably my favorite so far, followed by sharpshooter, because they are extremely fast-paced and aggressive. And that's what I like. That's the kind of the play style I enjoy. I enjoy playing that way, and I enjoy playing against people who play that way. One in the chamber can be really, really fun, but I'm probably not going to play it nearly as much as gun game and sharpshooter. And sticks and stones, to hell with it. I don't see myself playing that a whole lot unless I'm playing the wager game mode where you can't choose. Because it's I just don't have a lot of fun with that crossbow. I got one really good kill with it, and it was kind of exciting for a second, but it just doesn't do a whole lot for me. The ballistic knife, I'm okay with it, and the tomahawk's kind of cool, but other than that, I don't know, man. It's just not sticks and stones doesn't do it for me. It was really slow for me. But so that's basically my first day in a nutshell of playing it. I mean, I remember I went right after playing like 4 hours of wager mode. I went into a free-for-all game on, I think, Villa, I think is what the map's called. I think it's a remake of a Call of Duty 1 map. At least it looks a lot like a Call of Duty 1 map called Manor. But it was so slow. It felt so slow to me, and it felt kind of just like week old meatloaf or something in terms of just it just felt like I'd already done it, and it was kind of sour, and I don't know. I think so far, and this is subject to change at any time, but I really do think that the wager mode is kind of replaced free for all, at least for me. So those are my thoughts so far. I'm going to go play some Call of Duty Black Ops. Be sure to subscribe if you liked the video. We'll have more for you throughout the week. Thanks for watching, guys.